The Shaman, the Demon, and the Emperor. Far in the deep jungle on the tail of Turtle Island, there was supposed to be peace, as the birds sing, and nature lives in harmony. Off in the distance, a tribe of strong Mayan warriors are gathered to fend off an attack. The Emperor is there, as all these attacks have been happening over and over, and they are now the last line of defense. We are ready, Your Highness. Good. May the gods bless us. As he makes his way to the front lines, he holds his maquat tightly and prepares his men for the fight they have ahead. My dear brothers and beloved sisters, we are hope for those we care for. Not all of us will come back alive from this, but we will be remembered by those we love. We will show them why our strength, might, courage, and honor will prevail. We will show them the power of true balance. He blows into his death whistle, and his army follows as what sounds like hundreds of screams are heard deep within the forest. The two nations collide, and in the skirmish hundreds of lives are lost on both sides. In the last wave, the king is badly injured, his arm cut many times, and pieces of obsidian have broken off inside him. In his current battle, he knows that even if he kills the warrior in front of him, he will die. He takes a deep breath, and in the final strike, the both of them pass over to Xibalba. He stares into the endless darkness of the underworld, thinking about the world he knew and how he will never see what it will become. Eventually, he got the courage to sit up and search the place he had only heard about through his high priestess. Not long after, he falls into fire, and he runs as his body is left burnt and singed. He stumbles upon a room, a regular room, or so he thought. A light snarling could be heard within the room. "Who's there?" he says with the small strength he has. With haste, a jaguar pounces on him and begins to claw at him. There's nothing he can do but accept fate with extreme anguish. Suddenly, a claw mark begins to burn and sear into his arm. He begins to scream and scream in pain as the mark is branded onto his flesh. A scream separate from his own made the jaguar leave him and revel in his own pain. The fallen emperor grabs his arm, gets on his knees. He begins to panic as he hears footsteps coming closer to him, and his breath quickens until he feels as if he is choking. He cannot breathe, and fear runs deep within him. And he sees the stranger has stopped in front of him as he passes out. The stranger grabs his arm and looks at the mark that the jaguar burned into his arm. "Ah, so you are one of them." The stranger grabs the fallen emperor's head and sees through his memories and finds out who the emperor was, his life before his death. The stranger begins to smile as he sees the battle where the emperor died. "Well then, aren't you a strange one?" The stranger grabs the fallen emperor and drags him away from the 6 houses and takes him to a room not far from the river of blood. Oh, who are you? Well, you are down here in Xibalba. Tell me, who rules this plane, mortal? The god of death and destruction. Butch. He rules. You are correct. I rule Xibalba, and I wish to make you an offer. An offer for what? You see that little mark on your arm? There are very few that the jaguars give that mark to. It is the heart of the jaguar. It is burned when a jaguar demon sees you as one of their own, and greatly admires one's strength, wisdom, and power. So what does that mean for me? It means that I too see you and notice your traits. You have potential to be very useful.
I refuse to be a tool for you to use to terrorize the world above. Do not test me, mortal.
You can live again and be a warrior
With the strength of gods!
even if I could live again.
My empire is dead. My people are dead.
My life would mean nothing then. So be it, mortal. You will suffer for eternity in my grasp. Apuch touches between the Emperor's eyes, and he is once again knocked out. When his eyes open, he is left back in the Jaguar house and is forced to go through the 6 houses and 3 rivers of Xibalba. Many moons go by, and the pain that he feels is still there, but his reactions have faded through time. He begins to talk to himself as his mind breaks. How long has it been? What has become of my people? Should I have taken that offer? Suddenly he feels the ground shaking and he hears rocks in the distance fall as he sees the horizon crumble and darkness begin to storm in its place. The rocks begin to fall closer and closer to him, and he turns away until he sees it's happening everywhere. He is hit by the falling rocks, and he hears loud, ear-piercing screams as the people of Xibalba become victims to the void. His leg is pinned between 2 rocks, and he cannot move.
What is happening?
Tears fall from the Emperor's eyes, and blood spills from his wounds as more rocks hit him. The extinction of a race of warriors. He hears a voice and realizes that Apuch is next to him, and he is bombarded by rocks as well. Grab my hand, mortal. You will live again for all of us. As their hands clash together, they are both crushed as the world fades into pure darkness. The extinction of a race of warriors. What does that mean? Why can I still think? A bright light begins to shine, and he realizes that his leg is no longer trapped, but Apuch is not with him. He gets up and runs towards the light. He feels warmth and freedom as he gets closer, and when he passes through, he sees blood, and the warmth has changed to emptiness. He steps over the rocks on the ground and assumes that this place has suffered the same fate as Xibalba. Two bodies begin to move, and he rushes towards them to find that they too are gods. As he gets them up, he looks at their faces and sees the two gods are Jaak, the god of rain and thunder, and Itzamna, the goddess of life. My goddess, what happened here? Is this not the realm of the gods?
Our people are dying, and slowly we're fading into forgotten memories of an empire that no longer lives.
We are getting weak. We will die with our people.
Itzamna cries as her creations fall and fade away into shadows.
Mortal, may I ask how you are here, alive?
I've been in Xibalba for a long, long time, and I was given this mark by a jaguar demon when I first arrived. Puch made me a deal: become his warrior and live again, or suffer for as long as it takes. Now Xibalba has suffered the same fate, and I took the deal in his final breaths.
Let me see the mark.
The fallen emperor turns his arm and reveals his mark to the two gods.
The heart of the jaguar. You possess the heart.
Itzamna begins to shout in joy and dance. She proceeds to make a staff in front of the mortal and tells him,
I give the staff to you. Use the staff and seek the seeker of souls. Use the sword to make peace, warrior.
When the warrior goes to give his thanks and appreciation, his voice does not make a sound. Jaak then shocks him, and he feels great pain, so he screams, and his screams shake the abandoned realm as if his voice itself now had power.
I give you the voice of thunder. I have given this to one other, a demon of wrath, with flesh stained in red.
The two gods then proceed to fade away, and their last words to the emperor, now the fallen god's warrior, ring in his head.
Go. You must find them both.
The clouds give way underneath the warrior, and he falls from the realm of the gods back to earth, and he is brought to his knees. They are all gone. Everyone has faded into nothing. The extinction of a race of warriors. I must find them. But who are they? He begins to listen to his surroundings, and he hears water. He walks towards it, but it causes him great pain to walk on earth again. He looks at his feet to see that they are covered in blood, and he is confused on why this is happening. He makes his way to the water, limping along the way, and he takes a drink. But he spits it out and looks at the water and talks to himself again. The very blood of Turtle Island has become poisoned. What has happened to our great mother? After all these years, they still don't listen to the great promise. The warrior hears a voice but cannot see where it is coming from. He yells and wields his sword as his breath quickens. Who speaks? He could have sworn that it was right next to him, and yet they are nowhere to be seen. His heart begins to beat louder and louder as his paranoia gets stronger and stronger until he drops to the ground. He hears a loud cracking sound and hissing as he gets up in shock. He sees the earth begin to crack as all of its water has become black. A snake with glossy, liquidy, oozing black sludge for scales comes from the crack, and its long body begins to lap over the equator and squeeze tightly as the crack grows and grows. Suddenly, a deep pain begins in his chest, and his heart races once more. He cannot breathe, as if it feels as if the snake is choking him as well. The warrior cannot help but watch the great water slowly break apart as the snake's grasp gets tighter and tighter. The cracking begins to get louder and louder as he hears the very cries of every being on earth scream. The people, the birds, the animals, they cry as the snake screeches and our great mother finally breaks apart by the byproduct of humans and industrialization. The black snake. It screams in victory as the pieces of earth are drifting in space. The warrior's heart stopped beating, and he is no longer breathing, yet he can move. He sees the snake and jumps towards its direction and tries to kill the snake. But instead, he is swallowed by the creature and wakes up feeling physical warmth, but his spirit remains cold and hollow. As the warrior slowly opens his eyes and sees that he has woken up next to a bonfire.
I was worried you wouldn't wake up. I've been banging on the drum for a while.
The warrior jumps up in a fighting stance and holds his sword tightly in one hand and regains balance with the other. The person stands up and proceeds to tell the warrior that there is no need to fight. Tell me, are you the one who spoke to me by the river?
No, we haven't spoken until now.
Of course he isn't. A familiar voice starts to speak again, and he looks around, but to no avail.
Then tell me, who are you?
I am the one who gave you your freedom, your life, and in return, I abandoned my body, and now we share one. Abuch. The drummer intervenes and tries to calm the warrior down, but he fails.
Shut up!
The warrior strikes first, but he sees the person's skin more closely, and it is stained red. He looks at his arm and sees that he too bears the heart of the jaguar. What are you?
My name is not of any importance to you, newcomer. Perhaps you could use some clarity.
He punches the warrior's gut and steps closer to him to land another blow, but he is stopped by another.
Put him down, Akbal Balam. Look at his arm. He's one of us.
Akbal Balam puts down the warrior and backs off.
Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Chak Kaan, the Speaker of Souls. And he is Akbal Balam, the Demon of Rage. Now who may you be?
My name It has been many moons since the warrior has even heard the name he once had. My name is Sak Tsoi. He didn't say that. He made no effort to move his mouth, and yet he spoke. I am the keeper of death.
Speak normally.
It's not him talking. He has many, many souls inside of him. Yet, they all follow his control.
Then perhaps he is one of us. Ola Saksoi. We are Balamna.